You've been saying it's been funny, but it's not so funny, actually. I especially asked them to bring the temperature down so you feel like you're in Baffin Island. So it's a part of an experience for you to go through as well. I was lucky enough to go to Baffin Island. I'm going to start with that. And it's a project for us to monitor weather up in Baffin Island for 2 mining companies. Our collaborators for this project are CIM, Baffinland Iron Ore, Peregrine Diamonds, Laurentian University, and Symboticware. I have a quick definition of the project, of what it is. We set up met stations to be able to collect weather information for the mines. The most important point is not in the numbers actually, but the most important point for us is that multi-use of the infrastructure, meaning that the stations we set up in Baffin Island are not only used for the mines, for their operational use, but it's also used by Laurentian University for their climate change research. At the same time, it gives us a chance to support our SymBots out there and test them out in the real cold, basically. I don't know if you've been to Baffin Island. It's a beautiful place. The first star on the far right is Peregrine Diamonds. That was our first stop. It's about a 50-minute helicopter ride from Iqaluit. And our second stop was Baffinland Iron Ores. That's in the star is about in the middle where the Mirror River site is. And from there we did 2 more stops at Steensby and Millen. Now people think of exploration camps and they go like, so what does it look like? That was a couple of the questions I got, and that's what the exploration camp looks like. That's the first site we stayed, is the Peregrine Diamonds. It's a nice by the lake location, places for sale. It looks very deserted or by itself. It's actually nice and quiet, and they even have Wi-Fi, so you really cannot ask for much. And the most important tent is in the far right, is the kitchen. So that's the first person I met there, is the chef. Became good friends, and I ate good the whole time I was there. On the work side, sorry, we set up weather stations. I'm going to talk about the example of what the parameters we collected. It's basically we deployed 2 kind of sensors, analog and digital sensors. First one collecting temperature, humidity, wind speed direction, barometric pressure, precipitation, and power. And you can see the setup that we have on the bottom picture there. So we have a sensor tripod and we have a power management tripod, which I'm going to talk about it next. This was our second stop in Baffinland Iron Ores. That's a quite larger site for us to be in, and it's this Mirror River site. One of the important point for us is to try SymBot to fullest potential, what it can do aside from just collecting weather data. And we talked to the customers saying that what else can we provide you that will be useful for you? They said, can you try a new sensor? I said, like, yes, sure can. We tried a wireless temperature sensor in the month of July while we were there. So we are trying to test new technologies that comes along aside than just providing raw data. At the same time, they said, can you put a camera on it? I'm like, sure we can, because as Bikash mentioned it, we have a platform that can do it, so then we do it. So what we're trying to provide at the end of this project is to give them a time-lapse picture, but we are taking, I think, picture every 10 minutes or so, storing it, so when somebody pulls them out, they're going to have a time-lapse information. And for next year, what we're trying to work on is actually to take that picture and transmit through a satellite, so they can actually see what's going on. Now, the important part is to see what's going on. It's a part of it once you're in Baffinland. I'm going to talk about the benefits in a minute, actually. This is another setup that we have in Baffinland, and I'm going to talk about why we have solar panels and wind turbine. While we were there, we had 24-hour sunlight, so it was great to work in. You wake up around midnight, you get on a chopper, you fly for half an hour, you land, you're having coffee, and you're in the middle of nowhere. And you have to set up those tripods, and you are trying to find the sun because the solar panels have to face the sun at all times. And it was 2 a.m. and I had seen the sun rising, or it's always been up. It was up dead north. I'm like, okay, there's something wrong with the setup. So we're so used to it. So we have the solar panels facing south, which we have 24-hour sunlight during the summertime. But when it goes winter, then everything goes dark. So we have to power the SymBot. So we have a built-in little wind turbine with a battery bank that can provide enough energy to charge the SymBot and send the information. That is me trying to do an install at one of the sites, and far right is the twin otter plane. That was quite a fun ride to take, actually. I wish I had the video available for everybody. Now, the pictures of the polar bear and the seal is the wildlife we didn't get to see. I wish we could have, but we didn't have a chance, so we didn't see any wildlife. Some people consider us lucky, and I'm going to keep it that way. Most of the transportation has been done with the helicopters, and I thought you might want to appreciate to see. Yet, on the far left, the picture I've taken is under the water. So you have an ice sea that is there most of the time, but I gave my fingers away for that picture, so it turned out okay. Before I move on to the next slide, wanted to highlight once again the importance of also using the information for climate change and the mining companies at the same time. But more on the mining companies, the way they use that information is actually helps them not for their environmental assessment data, it's also help them on operations. And we have Matthew's quote here talking about it, how important it is. Because for them to be able to fly to a site, they have to know that they can actually fly to site once they are paying for the choppers for very expensive amounts of dollars. So if they can know the fact that they cannot get there, that's already saving them money. And that's when the bi-directionality comes in quite important. They might be able to pull that information for every hour during the summertime while they are operating. But when it goes winter, when they close down the camps, they can remotely set it up that collects information every 5 hours and transmit every day. So the saving that is done, it's quite important. But the way they access that information is the SIM site. That is our medium to display the data to them. And they can select multiple things. They can ask for a data report, so they can actually dial into the SymBot and ask them what they have been collecting for the last year, last day, last hour. And that's pretty much it on my side. It's very light with the pictures. I'm going to ask Kirk to come to translate for you what I just said.
And just finally, I want to end with a shot with a lot of the supporters and collaborators that we've had the opportunity to work with in the past couple of years. In particular, I'd like to point out a couple of key organizations and individuals that have been, I guess, paramount to at least the success or where we are today. First, I'd like to acknowledge SEMI for first Peter Kaiser and the vision and the insight to include SMEs as part of their innovation generation process. And again, understanding that SMEs are motivated and driven to take R&D and commercialize on the successful collaborations. In particular, I'd like to also recognize the directors at SEMI, those being Alan Aker, Glenn Lyle, and Keith Bullock. Their knowledge in industry has been such an invaluable or tremendous asset to us, as well as the network, and I think just the level of trust and comfort that we've had over the past 2 years just to really help Symboticware along. And also I'd like to thank the rest of the SEMI team for their support and really promoting us throughout the couple of years. Also, I'd like to mention Cast Resource Equipment. Mike Castron could not be here this evening, but through Mike's help, he's really assisted us with opening some initial doors to getting us where we are today. And he continues to get the word out throughout North America about the SymBot. He is our sales channel partner and will help to commercialize the SymBot as we move forward. Finally, I'd like to thank our team, and I was really impressed with the presentations that were given by the team. As well, I'd like to acknowledge Laurie Fava, who's here this evening too. She's our R&D manager, and we didn't really talk about the other research projects that we have going on with CanMet and through IRAP. Again, these are very research-driven. The focus this evening was to look at a product that is at a commercialized state, but there will be some news coming out with the research projects that we're working on with Laurie. So thanks, Laurie. As well as the rest of our staff. Some are here this evening. Thanks for your support over the past 2 years, and it's been tremendous, and I look forward to continuing this in the future. And that concludes it. Thank you. Questions as well. I'd like to open it up. Technical projects, I think Bakash can answer them probably the best.